So when I normally tell people that I've trained in cognitive hypnotherapy, usually the response I get is something like this. Oh, can you make people behave like a monkey, or can you put me into trance? Can you make me fall asleep like this? So I get all those questions when really that's not how it works at all, I can assure you. So what I wanted to do today was just to tell you a little bit about cognitive hypnotherapy and give you a bit of background to it. So it's a completely new modern approach to traditional hypnotherapy, and that's really quite exciting because there's only one school in the whole of the world that is currently training in it because it's such a modern approach. And I was lucky enough to train in London there's probably only a couple of hundred cognitive hypnotherapists at the moment. So this is a very exciting time because it's completely new and there's nobody else doing it. You can kind of think of it as a bit of a combination therapy, as it's taken like bits and pieces from different areas of other therapies like CBT, counselling, and other cognitive therapies, and can kind of combine it into this completely new module, which actually works. And I've been through it myself, and I'm, walking evidence that it can and will work. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with everybody else. But underneath it all, it's really based on three key principles. The first one is that trance, yes, the thing that we kind of traditionally think that, right, you're under, that, hypnotherapists can somehow put you into. It's a state that you get put into. We don't believe that at all. We believe that it's a natural, everyday occurrence. So, do you ever drive anywhere? Like, get in your car, drive a journey, and have no memory of what happened or how you got there? I do this all the time. Or do you sometimes find yourself being distracted, looking out the window, and completely missing whole conversations? So that's what we like to call trance. These types of behaviours where, you lose yourself, you get taken off different places. That is technically you being in trance. And just think about how many times this happens in our day-to-day lives. It happens all the time. So this is a completely natural experience. So really, in cognitive hypnotherapy, what the therapist is trying to do is dehypnotize you. So think of it like this. All our problem behaviors is technically you being in a negative trance state. So, do you ever find yourself getting stressed by things that shouldn't stress you? Or, you're scared of something that's completely ridiculous. Basically, that's you going into a bad trance state. So trance can be, in all our normal day-to-day lives, but it also can be in our problems, which is the main point I wanted to get across. So like I said, what the therapist is trying to do technically is dehypnotize you, get out of your problem state, away from these problem behaviors, and into a more positive, helpful state of mind. So that's the first one. The second principle, is that every behavior has a positive intention, which when we have problems, that's kind of hard to grasp. Especially for me, I found that very difficult to understand. So even when we're doing our problems, our unconscious mind is actually trying to bring us some sort of benefit behind that. So it's either trying to move us away from danger or towards reward. But sometimes it can get this wrong, and this is what we find. A lot of our problems are very habitual, very automatic, and once that our unconscious originally wanted to bring us some sort of benefit, there's been some sort of change and a bit of a mishap. So what we need to do is actually get to the root of the problem to be able to reframe it. So that's number 2. And the third one is that everyone is unique. And this is what really grates me about kind of traditional hypnotherapy. So, and other therapies actually. So normally when a client comes into the room, the therapist attaches a label to the person. So they come in saying, "Oh, I've got anxiety." So most therapies go, right, okay, she's got anxiety. What treatments can then I attach to that anxiety? So you're looking for the label and associating a treatment plan with the label. But think of this, how does that person do their anxiety? Like, are, two people, no two people are the same. So everyone has different experiences of anxiety. So why give them the same treatment plan? Why treat everybody the same if they have anxiety? So this is not what we think about it. So what we do is to talk to the client, find out how they do their problem. So how do you do your anxiety? What behaviours do you display? How do you think? How do you feel? And from that, we then tailor the treatment to the person's negative behaviours. Not the label, there is no labels, it's towards how they do their problem and how they see the world. So really, there's no scripts, there's no generic treatment plans. It's all completely individualised and completely personalised to that particular client, which is fantastic. And that's one of the main reasons why it's so effective. So they're the kind of 3 key principles. And then finally, why is it more effective than other therapies? So really, if you think about lots of talking therapies, such as like counselling, things like that, a lot of people say, oh, I've been to my therapist for years, been seeing my counsellor for, 2-3 years. Again, this is another thing that really gets me. You shouldn't have to see someone for years to feel better. You shouldn't. I mean, it's not working. If you're having to go see your doctor for 2 years, then surely something's not right and you need to be trying something different. So a lot of talking therapies are only targeting the conscious part of your mind. So the bit that's in our awareness. And often with this, the problem, I'm not saying all the time, but often the problem with this is that what is brought to mind comes to mind. So, you could be talking about your problem and really this is like stirring it up, bringing it to your awareness, and it can sometimes make it worse. I particularly found this with myself. I was seeing some kind of counsellor type therapist and I was actually feeling worse. After a couple of weeks, I was displaying more bad behaviour, having more negative thoughts, getting so anxious, so stressed out, and I was thinking, why? And yeah, like I said, often bringing things to mind and not doing things with them can actually be quite detrimental and not positive at all. So what cognitive hypnotherapy does is target the unconscious. So it goes through a deeper level of the brain, right to the unconscious mind, which is where most of our, habitual negative behaviours are stored. And it targets this area rather than the conscious area. So it's going to a completely different level of the brain and getting right to the core root of the problems. If you think of an iceberg, so you've got the tip at the top, which is the conscious behaviours, is like us freaking out, the stressful situations. And if we keep targeting that, we have no idea that underneath it all, it goes into this massive, massive core, like an iceberg, is huge under the water. So really, if we're just touching at the surface, we're not even going to the right part of it to be able to move forward, to be able to resolve our problems and move forwards. So that's where we're at in terms of conscious, unconscious. And kind of in a nutshell, it's all about working with the client, understanding how they do their problems, how they see the world, working in their model of the world, and essentially giving them the control back in that particular problem, which will hopefully then snowball into all areas of their lives, because the main aim is to give the client the understanding, awareness, and confidence that they can control every aspect of their lives, and this can all start from just the one singular problem. So I hope that's helped in a nutshell. But if you've got any other questions about this, please drop me a message or click the link in my bio.